Chapter 10. The Magical Charm Bracelet. This is a love story. The story of love between two young people who had found each other after experiencing war, a failed marriage, and the stigma associated with divorce in those days. How they met and fell in love is a story for another day. But we join them as they marry, and Vivian gifts his young bride Frida with a gold charm bracelet. Links in a chain, ready to be filled with their life experiences. And so each year, before their wedding anniversary, Vivian took the bracelet to the jewellers. Here the bracelet was cleaned and renewed, and he lovingly and intentionally chose a new charm to represent their life together. The story of this magical charm bracelet holds powerful medicine, which I am honoured to share with you. Charm number 1, St. Christopher, safe travel and protection. The start of the journey. The journey has begun. Vivian and Frida remember their wedding day, the commitment and promises they made. They look back over their year, remembering the highlights, laughing together at the mistakes they made, and see how these helped them grow in love. Now they are ready to make plans, to set their intention for the next stage of their journey, for safe travel and protection. Whenever you set off on an intentional journey, you need to know 2 important things. 1, where are you now? And 2, where do you want to go? If you don't have a destination in mind, how will you know if you've arrived? Now, I appreciate that there are times to just go for a drive, to enjoy a magical mystery tour. But in my experience, the journeys where I set my sat-nav, entering my location and choose destination, are usually more satisfying and just as exciting. You can also choose your pace to travel: car, push bike, or walk. When you reflect on your journey so far, this will help you set your location. You may like to start by taking a broader bird's eye view. Identify key events that have been life-changing to help you see where you are right now. You can then zoom in on your map and consider the past year. Have you been travelling at the maximum speed limit and need to stop at the service station? Have you been travelling down some twisty, bumpy country roads and feel like you are getting nowhere? Have you come off the road and run out of fuel? Are you sitting in your car, waiting for permission to start the engine? If you are reading this book or listening to this audio, the chances are that you are not where you would like to be, and you are ready to choose your destination. As you journal about your year, I invite you to record the highs and the lows. Be in gratitude and celebrate the highlights. Notice where you would have liked things to be different. These are opportunities where you learn and grow. And now visualize your destination. Set your intention for this journey of self-discovery. Maybe you want to feel more excited by life, more joyful. Maybe you are ready to shake off whatever is holding you back. Maybe you want to fall in love with yourself and life. Maybe you want to find the space to be yourself without apologizing to others. This charm also holds a prayer or an affirmation for the start of the journey. St. Christopher is the symbol for safe travel and protection. And I invite you to draw or write a symbol. What do you need as you set off on your adventure? Time to do some magical journaling. Reflect on your year. What were your highlights? How have you grown through a mistake? What is your intention for the next stage of your journey? You can create an affirmation, or you can use this one. I give myself permission to take action, to do the things that are good for my soul. Charm number 2, a telephone box. Speaking your truth. Frida and Vivian learned the value of communication, especially as sometimes Vivian needed to spend time working away from home. They missed the sound of each other's voices, and letter writing just wasn't the same. Telling each other about their day, saying the words, "I love you," "I miss you," was so much more powerful and heartfelt. And they were learning how to receive the words, "I'm sorry, you upset me." They knew that each had the freedom to say what they needed to say, and they could speak their truth to each other. I remember times when I couldn't say what I was thinking or feeling. It felt like a knot, a tightness in my chest, a pressure like I was going to explode. I learned to push the feeling down, or if that failed, the energy would rise up, creating an infection in my throat, or I would just give way to a flood of tears. Allow me to tell you that none of these strategies work when trying to avoid speaking your truth. Communication is an art we learn at birth. Any newborn baby is able to communicate their needs immediately, even if the new parents take a little while to learn the baby's language. The loving parents then devote their time to teaching their baby to use words. And oh, the delight when they first hear "Mama," "Dada." Yes, words have energy and power, and being able to speak freely is rightly valued. As humans, we long to hear words of love and praise. "I love you." "Well done." "You're amazing." Can you say this to yourself? Can you say this to others? Which do you find easier? Somewhere in our development, we learn that some aspects of communication are not acceptable, and this is where we can adopt unhealthy strategies. My floods of tears were the equivalent of a toddler tantrum, unable to express my needs in any other way. Children should be seen and not heard is a philosophy 200 years out of date. But how many women still see themselves as a child who is not allowed to speak? How often have you thought, "Oh, I wish I'd said," and did you follow through? When we feel someone has upset us, we say we need to have a difficult conversation. Why? We are allowed to speak our truth. Start now. It takes some practice, so grab a mirror, take a deep breath, look into your eyes and say, "I love you. You are so amazing." And anything else you have longed to hear. Time to do some magical journaling. What stops you from speaking your truth? What does that feel like to you? What was your childhood experience of communication? Who are you able to say these words to? I love you. You are amazing. I miss you. You upset me. I'm sorry. Create an affirmation or use this one. I am safe to speak my truth. Charm number 3, a church. Connect with your spirituality. Frida had been raised as a Methodist and Vivian in the tradition of the Church of England. They discovered there were differences in their spirituality, how they connected with God, even within their mutual Christian beliefs. As they searched for a church community to join, they realised that their individual spirituality was not tied to the bricks and mortar of a church building. It was more important for them to feel at home, where they felt able to connect to the divine. My relationship with church and established religion has been rocky. It has taken a long time for me to be able to piece together my spirituality with God, Goddess, Divine, Source. I was raised very traditionally, as were many of my generation, and church was normal, acceptable, and what everyone did. I was vaguely aware that some of my friends at school didn't go to Sunday school, but I was very naive when it came to other religions and faiths. I was fascinated when learning about Buddhism when I was 17. My mother was so alarmed that I was summoned home for the weekend as my godmother was staying, and she had the task of ensuring that I wasn't about to convert. In today's multicultural, multi-faith society, this all seems very old-fashioned and outdated. But there was a fear in my family of not following tradition. When I experienced burnout at 40, through overgiving of my time, largely to the church family was super supportive for about 2 weeks. When it was clear that I wasn't going to jump back in and just carry on as before, when it was known that I was, quote, going through a nervous breakdown, I felt I had been labelled unclean. I have never returned as a regular churchgoer, and I know this was something my mum found very hard to understand, linking my going to a service on Sunday with being better. But my relationship with God, gift of divinity, has deepened and grown as I have released my inherited fear of the unknown. I feel connected to divine when I walk in the woods or paddle in the sea. I feel connected to divine when I see the first snowdrops in my garden. I feel connected to divine when I gaze at the moon in all her cycles. I feel connected to divine when I listen to sacred songs from all faiths. I feel connected to divine in my yoga practice. I feel connected to divine in a cacao ceremony. I feel connected to divine when I smear paint on a page or a canvas. I feel connected to divine when I light a candle and breathe. Time to do some magical journaling. Where do you feel at home spiritually? How do you connect with divine, God, Source? or whatever feels comfortable for you. You can create an affirmation or use this one. I choose ways to connect to my spirituality that resonate with my soul. Charm number 4, treasure chest. Find your magic within. Frida was very happy and content teaching in a nursery school. Vivian was progressing in his career with the civil service and was given a promotion. They would be moving from their little flat and able to buy a house in a village close to Oxford. And with the increase in Vivian's salary, they could manage without Frida working. So maybe, just maybe, they were not too old to think about having a family. Could there be treasure that was hidden deep inside, just waiting to be discovered? Have you ever found yourself thinking, if I can do it, anyone can? This simple phrase can very effectively prevent you from ever uncovering your gifts, your life purpose, your inner magic. The gifts and talents that you feel are so natural, so easy for you, that it's often hard to see that these are unique and special. And I speak from my own experience. I have always loved teaching, even when I believed I was only helping a friend with their homework. I loved how I could find words and analogies to enable them to understand a tricky maths problem. I celebrated with my first class when they passed their maths exam, having been told they were no good at maths. So many times that they came to believe it. I was able to transform that story for them. I loved sharing my passion and skills with upholstery, seeing the joy as my clients brought an old and often much loved piece of furniture to life. Teaching in all its various forms was so natural, so easy for me, that I often didn't realise I was doing it. If I can do it, anyone can. My breakthrough has come through the inner work I have done around self-worth, valuing my natural gifts, and I have been able to unlock and open my treasure chest. I am able to see teaching and communication as my magic within. Here is my treasure chest ABC guide. A. Accept your treasure chest. Accept that you have gifts, skills, medicine to bring to the world. That you have a purpose. B. Break the lock. Be willing to do your inner work to find the key to unlocking your treasure chest. C. Uncover your magic. Be open to discovering your treasure. You may be surprised at what you find. Time to do some magical journaling. What are you good at? What feels naturally easy for you? How do you feel about opening up your treasure chest to discover your wisdom and magic? What do you need to be able to unlock your treasure chest? What would you like to find hidden inside? Imagine your magical treasure as a precious crystal. What message does it have for you? Create an affirmation or use one of these. I am open to discovering my magic. I trust my inner wisdom. Charm number 5, watermill, going through the mill. Vivian and Frida have had a tough year and feel like they have been through the mill. They experience such joy at the safe arrival of their daughter, which is swept away by the sudden death of Vivian's father only a few weeks later. Vivian is learning to be a good father, while also needing to be a supportive son and loving husband to Frida, who is recovering from a difficult birth. He experiences the intense grief of losing a parent. The watermill is a symbol for them of the inner work which is needed as they create their lives together. They are learning to be resilient as the wheel of the mill continues to turn, with the water flowing beneath. I remember visiting a traditional working mill where the grains of wheat are laid between 2 huge millstones, and then the power of the water is used to turn the stones, grinding the wheat into flour. The sound of the clanking machinery, the roar of the water, the grinding of the stones, and the dusty air created a multi-sensory memory. The work of the mill feels intense, the noise almost overwhelming, but necessary to produce the flour, to create the bread, to sustain life. You will have had life experiences where you feel like you have been through the mill, where you have felt overwhelmed, crushed by the weight of expectation, of responsibility, of feeling trapped. You have survived and learned important life lessons in the process. Let's explore the medicine of the watermill. You are resilient. A skilled miller knows how to adjust the stones so that just the right amount of pressure is applied to release the flour. When you experience pressure of life, you learn that you are able to withstand that pressure and release the flour, essential and life-sustaining. You do the work required. Milling requires work. It's noisy and using energy. Grinding flour is a hands-on experience. With all the machinery around you, you need to be alert and aware and fully present on the task. Transforming the grain to flour is a creative process, and whatever you are creating requires you to be alert and aware of the work you are doing. It is worth it. You are worth it. You are in flow. The water source by a mill is redirected to the wheel when the power is required to turn the grindstones. In medieval times, if the water source dried up, people would literally starve if they couldn't mill the flour, and the miller knew the value of keeping the stream clear of debris. No work goes on if there is no flow. This quote is from Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. To bring back creative life, the waters have to be made clean and clear again. We have to wade into the sludge, purify the contaminants, reopen the apertures, protect the flow from future harm. Time to do some magical journaling. Remember a time where you have felt like you have been through the mill. What did you learn about yourself through this experience? How do you respond to the pressures of life? What are you creating that requires you to do the work? How are you keeping your stream clear of debris? Create an affirmation, or you can use one of these. I am open to learn from my experiences. I am ready to do my soul work. I am resilient and live in flow.